Hi everyone, welcome to week 6. I can't believe how fast time has flown with this course. This has been a really great group. First, let me begin with reminding you to please complete your course evaluation. It's really important to me that I get feedback from all of my students. It helps me become a better teacher, and it also helps me to tweak the course and improve it. So today's video, I'm going to go over the exam from last week, and for the most part, people did fairly well in the exam. It was not an easy exam, and most people did pretty well. So I'm going to go over the answers that seem to get a lot wrong. So there was one question about explicit instruction contains all of the following instructional choices. And when we talk about explicit instruction, we're really talking about that cycle of intentional teaching. So it's direct instruction, looking at what the tasks are, and then getting the class regulated to learn. Quite a few people answered a self-discovery, which is the incorrect answer because the way the question was worded was choices except. So the answer, direct instruction is part of explicit instruction, task analysis is part of explicit instruction, and teacher regulation of learning is explicit. Self-discovery would not be explicit instruction. It is a separate category in and of itself. Let me go down to the next one. Let's see, most people got that one correct. I'm going through them one at a time to make sure I address all of them. Another one that a few people got wrong was which type of instruction is most effective for teaching students with disabilities? And the correct answer to that is explicit instruction, as I just explained to you. So I hope that makes sense. This one, quite a few people got wrong, and this is with regard to a functional analysis. And there were just shades in these answers between right and more right, I guess. So with a functional analysis, what you're really looking is to identify the potential functions of a student's behavior. Not so much verifying the function of a student behavior, but it's looking to see why a student is what they're doing, and in some ways not to have that presupposition that I think it's task avoidance or I think it's this, to really look at the behavior and find out it could have more than one function. So I think the shades of gray in that answer really are about keeping an open mind when a functional analysis is done, because the behavior may not be a function of what you thought it was a function of. So you're not using the functional analysis to prove your hypothesis as much as to investigate what the different things could be. Let's see. So this one, I think people struggled with, and I think, honestly, I think it's in the wording of the question. In general, all behaviors occur to obtain positive reinforcement or avoid negative reinforcement. All of the following except. And so the only one that was except was consequences. The other choices were sensory conditions, attention, activities, or tasks. Those are all the kinds of things that can occur to get positive or negative reinforcement, whereas a consequence isn't the behavior, it's as a result of the behavior. So the correct answer would have been consequence. Quite a few people did not get the percentage of students that are with severe intellectual disabilities that are excused from required annual state and district testing. And that's actually from the federal government, and that's the one called the 1% rule. There were some questions about adaptive skills. So in this question, it was, again, may not be an example of a student with difficulty with adaptive skills. Adaptive skills are life skills, things that you would do to be successful in your life. And I guess I can understand how some people may have gotten this one wrong, because adaptive skills are things like crossing the street, being able to provide demographic information to a telemarketer, or being able to make correct change. Eye contact is more of a communication, part of a communication skill as opposed to adaptive skill. So that, I guess, is just a very fine difference as well. And I'm trying to find this one others. The one other one I did want to go over was the federal law with regard to gifted and talented students. And I want to make it really, really clear that the federal law requires that school districts identify students that may be eligible as gifted and talented students as that exceptionality. But there is no funding for it, and there's no requirement that a district provides any service, which I mean, it is what it is, but that is the federal law with regard to gifted and talented students. All of you did a fabulous job with the essay question, so I really want to compliment you on that. You did a really, really excellent job. I know some people had the wrong edition of the book. I think we got that straightened out, and we were able to do that. So for this week, your final discussion is a course reflection. So I'm very interested to hear, your reflections about this course and what you've learned. And then you have two things that are due this week. You have your classroom observation, which hopefully all of you have completed or are going to complete at the very beginning of the week. Make sure you either scan or take a photograph of the sheet that's signed by the school, by the practitioner that we are observing, and that's that's part of your documentation. And then your week 6 assignment, which is your final project, is choosing one of the 13 federal disability categories. I did have a few questions. People emailed me and asked about specific disabilities. Remember that this is about the whole disability category, and there may be specific disabilities that you want to provide information of in that category, but it's not about a specific disability. I hope you understand. If you have any questions, reach out to me right away, because I don't want you to be sort of behind the 8 ball with doing the assignment. Hopefully you've all started it. Otherwise, it's been wonderful to have all of you in this course. Please make sure that you get your assignments in by midnight on Saturday, because I can't accept any late assignments in week 6. There's a really quick turnaround to get your grades in. And I've just really enjoyed learning with all of you. Our discussions have been fabulous, and it's been a really, really great 6 weeks. Take care, and hopefully I'll run into some of you in some other classes. Have a wonderful holiday and a happy and healthy new year.